days, any of us can be a blogger. All you need is somewhere to post your content and an interesting angle on life, be it sports, politics, travel, food, music, you name it, you can blog your perspective on it. What's more, you can attract a worldwide audience of thousands or even actually millions in some cases. However, as well as a web presence and a flair for writing, you should also develop an awareness of intellectual property, IP for short, and basically its impact on your blogging activities. IP is essentially about protecting our intellectual creations, and that includes, of course, our blog entries. But whatever A has protected, B may infringe. So when we consider blogging and IP, you need to look in both directions. How can you, as a blogger, protect your IP? And also, how can you ensure that your blog doesn't infringe on the IP of someone else? Here today, we're looking at A, what you have protected. Next time, I'm going to look at B, avoiding infringing on what someone else has created or protected. Now, while IP embraces a bundle of different rights, in this blog, we're just going to briefly look at the two most important rights for bloggers, trademarks and copyright. It really is amazing that some bloggers enjoy a huge reputation online, and yet they have never protected their blog identity by means of trademark registration. For example, it seems that Turner Barr, about whom I say a few things below, of Around the World in 80 Jobs fame, did not file a trademark application until after he had settled what is probably one of the most high-profile IP blog disputes to date. It's an unfortunate fact of life that many people take IP for granted until some issue crops up, and then they really do value their IP and they wish that they'd done something to better protect it at the outset. Blogs are global, trademarks are national. Now, being online, blogs are naturally global, but they don't respect national borders, which can make trademark protection, which is generally national in nature, potentially complex. However, it's advisable to file to register your blog name and blog identity as a trademark, at least in your home country. In trademark law, there is something known as the priority filing system, which effectively enables you to apply to register your trademark elsewhere, here, in the world, within 6 months of your initial home filing, and maintain that original filing date in other countries. So let's turn to copyright. Copyright arises automatically as soon as your writings, photos, music, or other creations are fixed in a recorded form. For example, as soon as you save your blog entry on your computer, it's protected by copyright as a literary work. Similarly, as soon as you take a photograph, on your mobile telephone, for example, it too can be protected as an artistic work. As for your blog content, such as, for example, your blog entries, photographs, music, etc., it's advisable to always keep some sort of dated record. For example, in your computer files in case you should ever need to prove that you created whatever the work is and on what date you did so. It's a good idea too to use the copyright symbol C in a circle alongside your creations, such as your photographs. Or use of the copyright symbol is generally not obligatory, but it does give notice to the world that the material is protected by copyright, and courts will often actually proceed on the assumption that it is protected by copyright. Although internet service providers, ISPs, are not liable if another person takes your blog material and posts it elsewhere online, you still have options. For example, if the infringer refuses to take down the lifted material, you may, for example, be able to achieve that same result by filing a takedown notice with the website provider. Social media and companies such as Facebook have well-established takedown procedures too, by which they will, remove infringing content on proof that it infringes your IP rights, including your trademark and copyright. Turner Barr. Now, so what actually happened with Turner Barr, who I mentioned earlier, is that he created a highly successful blog called Around the World in 80 Jobs, which recounted his experience as a young millennial in obtaining sometimes strange and wonderful jobs around the world, but which also provided information and advice to youngsters about, gaining employment. In 2013, Swiss employment company Adecco produced their own version of his blog, and they actually filed trademark applications in various countries for Around the World in 80 Jobs. Happily, all's well that ends well, because after a sustained campaign on social media, Adecco agreed to drop its version of Around the World in 80 Jobs and withdrew its trademark filings. If this pressure from social media hadn't actually happened though, then it would have been a different story. It wouldn't have been at all straightforward for Turner Barr. The right approach is to always file to protect your blog presence as a trademark before disputes arise, such as Turner's with Adecco. So in conclusion, if you blog, you have IP. Make sure both to protect your blog IP and avoid infringing the IP of others. In the next video, we will have a look at, some of the issues surrounding use of the material of other people in your blog and how to avoid common mistakes that people make.